Hey guys, I'm Reid.
And I'm Lacey.
And welcome to Podheads.
What do we talk about today, Reid?
We talked about Nintendo, lots of Nintendo. And then
some nostalgic movies.
Yes.
Shitting on Frozen 2. Ranking the Toy Story movies.
Yep. Spoiler alert, only one of us does it.
But it's the best one. It's the best ranking.
Whatever.
I learned about Norse mythology.
Yes, we covered Norse mythology so much.
And I'm inspired to play D&D. Write a new D&D campaign.
That's why I'm so excited for God of War. Oh, but anyway, that's for another
time. We'll see you guys in the episode. They're whitewashed. They're American washing Mario. They're whitewashing a white person.
Buzz, I am your father.
No.
Look at all the sauce packets we got from Taco Bell.
How many did we order?
We originally were like, let's get like 25. And then we were like, that's a little ridiculous. We don't want to put them through all that. So we ordered 5.
And they gave us, I think they actually did give us 20 something. Maybe 30. They got us a lot. And we already used some.
A lot. And I don't even use Taco Bell sauce. You know that? It is not the ASMR episode. We are never doing an ASMR episode. Besides that first episode.
Too late. Now we have, if anybody wants a plethora.
You're asking the audience if they want mild sauce that's like, what, 2 weeks old?
I'll eat it.
The audience is not you. Okay. So.
Destiny 2. You want to talk about?
I want to talk about the Witch Queen. First off, go subscribe to my personal channel, Mr. Dominari. Before you subscribe to Podheads. No, I'm kidding. But go subscribe. I have been covering the Witch Queen trailers, and I've been doing reactions. They've been getting views, bro. So like I did like a recent one like a couple of weeks ago, and I got like 200 views, whatever. Well, my most recent one that I did with my friend Joel, it's got 1,500 views right now. I'm so happy.
I'm also excited for Witch Queen.
And that's very, very tiny bit. But still. Witch Queen, yes. Witch Queen launches February 22nd, 2022. 22.
As of when this comes out, it will have already released. And
yes.
Reid will need gaming diapers. Because didn't you take the day off of work?
I took 2 days off of work. The release day and then the day after it. Because I need to grind the hell out. Because of the raid that launches with it.
The blackhead's gone.
Yeah.
Did you pop it?
Yes. The fact that you feel so strongly about this is more worrisome than me actually popping the blackhead that appeared last episode. I looked back on the last episode. You can't even see it.
You couldn't see.
Are you about to cry?
It. No. I could see it. What matters is that I saw it. I don't care if they saw it. I saw it and I wanted to pop it and you said no. And you popped it yourself.
So Witch Queen launches soon. And the raid looks like it's going to be the most ambitious raid that they've ever made. Save for Last Wish, because nothing's ever going to be Last Wish. But, I need to prepare. I need to hardcore prepare, because I want to complete it day 1. I've never gotten a day 1 emblem. Never. I need one.
You need it.
And I would never take that emblem off. Ever, 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 ever. Listen to me. I would never, Bungie.
What kind of merch do you think you would get?
They would probably do another jacket. They haven't revealed what the jacket is yet. And it would be my second jacket, because this is the only one I have from the raids. And you see me wearing it in some of the other Podheads videos. I thought I wore it a lot in the Podheads videos, but I look back and I wore it like 2 times. But,
how many episodes do we have? That'll be 3 out of like 12.
That's true.
A fourth.
3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah.
I was like,
25% of these Podheads videos I have this on. Oh, and it comes with your little gamer tag, and it comes with the name of the raid, and it comes with a little class sigil.
Cute. I would have put this on my car keys.
Yeah, won't do that.
Yeah.
And this little raid symbol, and there's 6 ships because you needed 6 people to beat the raid, and then it's silk in the inside. Oh,
can you flip it inside out, or am I thinking about a different one?
No, technically you can. There's one that they made that was actually like actual reversible. This just happens to look good inside out.
Okay.
But speaking of video games,
Nintendo.
There you go.
I found my old
We're really good
Nintendo
at
DS.
segues.
I found my old Nintendo DS.
I should have brought my 3DS.
I have my Nintendo DS. I religiously played the Over the Hedge game.
All right, guys.
And
So that's it for this episode.
and the Penguins of Madagascar one. But the one that I play more than anything, the one that I played when I found it just a second ago was GarageBand. Not GarageBand. Band Hero.
GarageBand on the
Band
DS.
Hero. If it wasn't for Band Hero, I would not have the exquisite music taste that I do today. You like my music.
You guys should see some of our
You like my music. You like my music. The only songs I ever hear you sing these days are songs that I've showed you.
Oh, Saturday sun. I met someone. Because I sound so close to the singer.
Gotta get back, I can't let this go.
Oh, Saturday sun. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on with Nintendo, actually. A new Pokemon game dropped a couple weeks? Months?
When the new Pokemon game come out?
Yes.
a couple months?
Arceus.
Weeks? I can't read.
So it released January 28th, so it wasn't that long ago. It was like Pokemon Arceus or something.
Oh, it looks kind of cool. It looks like
Arceus.
the latest Zelda game.
Yeah, they're trying to expand on the open world aspect of Pokemon, which was never really a crazy aspect. But I haven't been a crazy big fan of Pokemon, really. I think that it's really cool, and I love the art style.
$60. Damn, that's GTA. That's GTA and Skyrim and Red Dead.
Yes, indeed.
It is not as good as those.
You haven't played it.
Tell me it's as good as Skyrim. Tell me it has half the stuff Skyrim has in it.
Okay, half the reason why Skyrim is as good as it is because the bugs are funny as fuck.
I haven't run into any bugs in my game. I got the
As good as it was.
I got the anniversary edition, and like even the bugs that like help you like level up really fast, like all of them are gone. The only bug I can still find that actually helps me is there's this sneaking bug when you first leave the main like tutorial area where you can sneak on a cliff and alert a guard, and then if you hide back up on the cliff, the guard doesn't see you anymore. And if you keep doing that, you level up sneak really fast.
I really want to trash talk Bethesda, even though they made Skyrim.
What would you trash them about?
Fallout. In the most recent
Okay.
endeavors.
I won't argue with you.
But this is a Nintendo episode. So let's talk about Chris Pratt as Mario.
Wait, what?
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so they released.
I'm not a Nintendo person.
There's a Nintendo Direct, I think is what they called it. Or Nintendo Play, I can't remember. And even more months back, there was a Nintendo Play, and they released info that they were making an animated Mario movie, which I think is actually not a bad idea. But they cast Chris Pratt as Mario.
Do we have clips of him speaking in Mario?
So, whenever news broke out, there was some obvious questions, I guess.
I have concerns.
Considering Mario is an Italian plumber, and the voice actor for Mario in the games isn't dead. And he still voice acts whenever a new Mario game comes out, but they chose Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt has already confirmed that he won't be doing an Italian accent. And
they're American washing Mario? They're whitewashing a white person? It's gone too far! Whitewashing a white person with another white person?
So, one of the best things that came out of this, because I couldn't care less, because now I just know not to watch the movie. I couldn't care less, but one of the best things that came out of it was, I'm pretty sure the night after when news broke that Chris Pratt was going to be Mario, he went on his Instagram Live, and the first thing he said on his Instagram Live, in the most, like, it seems like he didn't want the part, Cause he said it in the most
I
like.
wouldn't want that shit either.
It's like he saw all the like backlash before he went Instagram living, and it's like in his contract to go Instagram live right after the release. So he said it in the most like bored. I'm not putting my all into this role tone. He said, "Hey guys, it's a Mario," and I was like, "Ah, let me show you. Hold on."
That's sad. That's
It's a
upsetting. I'm
a
not even a.
Mario.
I
He
don't.
said, "Ever since I was a kid, I've played Mario."
I don't even. I'm not a big Nintendo person. Like Band Hero is my thing. I never played like Mario Kart or I do play. I did play Smash Bros. But like Nintendo's never been my shit.
So when I was a kid, I lived in Lake Stevens, Washington, and there was this coin-operated laundromat near my house, and it had Super Mario Brothers, the original arcade game.
Is he high?
I love that game.
Oh
I never had a quarter. It felt like I'd either steal them from the wishing well.
That was the fakest
Yeah.
laugh.
That's wild. Just dawned on me right now. The quarter I stole out of the wishing well to play Super Mario Brothers has come true that I get to be the voice of Mario.
This is so
But I
scripted.
clearly stole someone else's wish, so just waiting for that row of karma dominoes to come crashing down on me. But as it is right now, it's a Mario. That's not the voice.
It's a Mario.
That was the fakest, most scripted. That's more scripted than Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's kind of sad.
It's a Mario.
He's like, that's crazy.
That's crazy. It just dawned on me.
A real
My
epiphany
wish.
this man just had.
My wish came true.
A real genuine.
Either he
wow.
was high on some podheads, or he was.
No, get the fuck out of my house. He. God, that was bad to watch. If the movie's like that,
Okay, so
I'm not watching that movie
There's
with
even
you.
crazier castings in that movie, bro. So you know who was cast as Bowser? Jack Black. Jack Black is Bowser, which honestly, let me play devil's advocate. And I hate people who say that, but
Because they're usually about to be racist.
yeah, I'm kind of ready to, because I'm like a big fan of Jack Black anyway. I'm ready to see Jack Black as Bowser as a super duper giant meme. I'm never gonna take it seriously, but I'm ready to see Jack Black's voice go through Bowser.
You know what I read on the internet? So it must be true. So this woman was working for NASA, and they were trying to figure out how to get to the moon. But they had this big long equation that they had to figure out, like I guess it was for like fuel economy or atmospheric, I don't know. Something, this big formula they had to finish before they could go off to go to
It's
the
gonna make you
moon.
mad.
Yeah. And she goes in labor, but she prints off the piece of paper that the formula's on, that the equation's on. And right up until the baby falls out and right after she solves the equation.
Dang, I hope that's true.
And she named the baby Jack Black. Can you is Jack Black's mom really, did she really work for NASA?
No, can't be. He was alive when the moon landed, wasn't he?
I don't know. Was it the moon landing? Some NASA equation. Did I like it on Instagram? Because I saw it on Instagram or Facebook. I don't remember.
Okay.
No, I have to see if Jack Black mom's a genius. Fucking okay.
Did Jack Black moms work for NASA?
Jack Black mom NASA. Yes, Jack Black's mother worked on a system that helped save Apollo 13.
That's cool.
She solved this equation that no one else in NASA could solve while giving birth to an icon. A literal icon.
This makes me really want to see him as Bowser.
I wish the people that they got to voice act these people were Italian, short, and tall, respectively, for Mario and Luigi. Actual plumbers, believed in ghosts, had weird romantic Why are you touching me?
Had weird romantic relations. While we're still vaguely on NASA, I also want to cover something that is an absolute fallacy. So, well, it's not a fallacy, but people took it the wrong way. So, whenever NASA started sending more and more people up to the moon, they needed something. They needed a pen that could write in space.
Oh, I know the story.
You do?
I know the
Okay,
story.
So, the ballpoint pen couldn't work in zero gravity, which couldn't. So
Because
they spent.
the way that pins work is that it falls down and it rolls the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You need gravity to work the pins.
Yeah. So they spent almost $1 million making a pen that could work underwater in zero gravity, under extreme heat, under extreme cold, in any condition. And then the rest of the post is like, when the Russians were approached with the issue, they used a pencil. So I hate this post so much because the reason why NASA didn't use a pencil is because, especially in zero gravity, graphite is extremely flammable.
That sounds fun.
No.
No.
Especially on a wooden pencil too, it is extremely flammable. And not only that, obviously, stuff that like in zero gravity, whenever you like write with a pencil, stuff breaks off of it. It's not gonna fall on your paper. It's gonna go flying everywhere. It gets into the air ducts, and obviously it is flammable. Just shit blows up.
Shit blows up.
So instead of risking a fire and killing everyone, they did that. Russia, please don't invade Ukraine.
Dad?
Hey! No, you just secured my position in an internment camp.
You have brought up internment camps for the past 3
Because
episodes.
it's terrifying,
I
bro.
know it's terrifying. You're my little white boy.
I'm American.
No
I
one
swear.
has to know. Yeah, you're an American citizen.
From here on out, every single time I said I was Russian, I was lying. Just joke. Just for the camera.
Clickbait. Speaking of Jack Black voice acting, there's this. What's the name of the game? There's this really cool game that.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
No. There's this really cool game that my friend and I have been playing recently. It's a puzzle game. I have to figure out the name of it. You're gonna need to cut this.
Is it called Escape Room Simulator?
You're gonna cut this out.
No, you're not, because Escape Room Simulator is actually not that bad. I played through the whole game with Jasmine. Speaking of Jasmine, Jasmine was supposed to be on this episode.
Do they know who Jasmine is?
Okay, so Jasmine is one of my friends. One of my best friends, actually. And she was supposed to be on this episode with us to do Nintendo. But we're kind of doing this super early in the morning, and she couldn't wake up in time. Because her sleep schedule is ass, and I'm calling her out on it right now.
I stayed up until 2 a.m. last night. No excuses. The name of the game is called Broken Age. And not only is Jack Black in it, but the person that voice acts for Princess Bubblegum and Adventure Time is in it. And a bunch, like, almost all the lines are voice acted. I think every single line is voice acted. So we would hear these voices in the game, and me and my friend would look at each other and be like,
We know that.
who is that?
Who is that?
The person that voice acted for Jake in Adventure Time is in it as well. It's a whole bunch of like famous voice actors in this video game, and I had never heard of this video game before. It's called Broken Age. It is a beautiful game. It's fun. It can also be frustrating. Lots of nice voice actors in it. A good narrative. I've never heard of it until.
It's not a Nintendo device.
Do you want to spend the whole time
kidding.
talking about
I'm
Nintendo
literally kidding.
when
I'm
you didn't
kidding.
want to talk
I'm
about
kidding.
Apple
I'm
last
kidding.
episode?
Bro,
when you
Apple
don't
is
listen
ass.
to any of my
Apple is
things that
ass.
I outline on the podcast schedule, when I have to look at the Podhead schedule because you haven't looked at it and I spend so much time writing on it?
I tried to look at it. I think that like maybe I didn't accept like the invite in time or something because I can't find it on my Google Docs. I've been looking for like months now.
And why are you telling me now?
Because I mean like it all figured itself out. Bro, you understand half the time I walk in here without looking at the script beforehand, and I still knock it out of the park.
I don't write scripts anymore because you didn't look at them!
Because we didn't need them! Unless it was something super detailed. Otherwise, it helped. Like that anime episode, space episode.
You mean the 2 out of 4 episodes we scripted?
Yeah. Home. Ding, 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 ding.
Talk about Nintendo if you want to talk about Nintendo so bad. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Okay, so have you ever watched Dinosaur Office? Okay, so
Oh shit! I moved this. I moved the tapestry.
tapestry. So, if you owned a Nintendo 3DS, you get early on, you could download this application for free. I think it was called like Video Player or Video Viewer, and it came with a bunch of free videos because they didn't really have the YouTube thing app available for 3DS at the time. So you could just watch some free videos on there, and one of them was a song called Rifle Spiral, and I still have it on my Spotify, and it is amazing. You want to come back into the video?
I'll come in for a second. Since I was like, I've had my DS since I was like 6, and the whole time I've had it, I never learned how to hook it up to the internet, so I never got any of that stuff.
Oh, so love Rifle Spiral. I love the little Kirby Samurai saga that they had on there, even though like each video was like 3 minutes long. Along with these little shorts called Dinosaur Office. I loved Dinosaur Office. Dinosaur Office was great. It was so good. That's where I get one of my quotes that I say a lot. I say, flat soda can cure an upset stomach.
What was I gonna ask?
Eat soup.
Did you ever play Nintendogs? Did you like it?
The demo.
I played it on my cousin's. I'm not done. I played it on my cousin's DS. Who do you play? Who do you main in Smash? Who do you main in Smash?
Okay, I hope my friend Austin watches this because I play Smash against him. So I am amazed. Okay, I am good at Kirby. Listen.
Are you a Kirby man?
Nope, that's not my man. I am good at Kirby. I am amazing at Link. Like, I kick ass with Link. But I'm a Wii trainer, man.
You main the Wii trainer? Do you like being bad at Smash Bros?
I think like it's such a intrinsically bad character set of moves that if I can win with it, I feel really good about
Okay,
myself.
you're playing 10 rounds of Smash with your 3 best friends, 4-player. How many times are you picking Kirby out of those 10?
Kirby?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like once or twice.
That's too many. I main Marth.
You don't like Kirby?
No, I hate Kirby's annoying.
Kirby's annoying. Have you fought Bowser? His little suicide throw off the side of the thing. My friend likes to do that.
Kazooie? Is Kazooie the bird that's on his shoulder? The bear and the bird?
Banjo-Kazooie, yeah.
Yeah. He sucks. Bowser, Kirby, and Banjo and Kazooie are the worst, the most annoying. If you main any of those 3 people,
At Austin Harrington.
whoever that is, y'all suck. I hate when people go Kirby first. There's also
He kicks ass with it though.
I don't care. Kirby is OP for no reason, and it's annoying. And his hitbox is so small.
Cause he's tiny. What do you want? To be the size of a building? He's a little gumball.
Even Mario was scaled up for his hitbox to not be so small.
What,
I
you want him to be
anti-gayed.
like a giant.
If you can't see, audio listeners, I flipped my wrist down but up.
So flipped your wrist up.
No, because I did this.
Oh, you did.
Yes. If you main Kirby, not only are you a coward with your small hitbox, but you are annoying. Go get a parkour game if you want to jump around so much.
Is it down B or is it down special? I love whatever his down B is. Whatever he turns into, like that heavy, like a random heavy object, and he goes bonk.
No, that shit's annoying because it happens in like a split second.
It does, and if you're not out of the way,
Marth,
out of there.
Marth, Link, and the other sword guys are the only good people you're allowed to play.
Okay, well, you're biased as hell already.
No, because they're. I played with Link.
I'm sorry. You played with Link.
I'ma quit. I played with Link until I unlocked Marth, and I've unlocked other sword characters, but Marth is my main.
So you like sword characters?
Yeah, they're probably my favorite. The jumpy cowards arounds are my least favorite, like Kirby.
You played the Minecraft Steve?
Oh god.
Have you played with Minecraft
Yes,
Steve?
I
His
have.
edge game is both ways.
His what game? His what game? His what game?
His Minecraft video game, previously bought by Microsoft, now bought back by Mojang.
No, it was a sex joke.
I know. I was trying to avoid it. You know, a family-friendly podcast.
Oh, that's good.
I hate you. That was the fakest laugh I've ever heard in my life.
But even besides the Chris Pratt laugh,
That's true.
I love
It's a me, a Mario.
it's a me, a Mario. You know what else? What other Nintendo thing annoys the shit out of me? And this is kind of coming out of a place of hurt right now. Kingdom Hearts.
Well, that hasn't been good in a while.
Kingdom Hearts sucks.
Yeah, I'm a toy, but I'm also a friend. You remember that?
My vibrator said that once. While we were setting up today, the lights that we have are USBs, so they have to plug into a cube. And I've used all of my cubes. What are you texting? Oh, I thought you were gonna text about me. We've used all of our cubes to set up the lights, but we got a ring light today, and it needed another cube. And I'm scrounging around in my room trying to find another cube. And
Is this story worth mentioning on a Nintendo? Where like Nintendo is like an audience for kids, and one of the first things when we haven't left the Nintendo subject that you want to say on this podcast.
So the cube that I use, I come in, I have it in my hand, and Reid is unsuspecting of what I'm about to drop on him. And I go, "We need more cubes." And he goes, "What?" And I'm like, "This is the cube I use to charge my vibrator."
Was it worth it, Lacey?
Yes.
Was it worth it?
Yes, it was worth it, because I'm going to be driving home from therapy next Wednesday, and I'm going to hear this.
And you're gonna die laughing. Dear future Lacey.
Get another cube or
What
another
were you
vibrator that
thinking?
needs batteries instead of plugging it into a wall.
Dear therapist, I'm sorry.
Is that the title of your next book?
That's actually not bad.
No, that's so...
Say it. You know, I made a really cringy English paper to graduate. Not
Which
graduate,
one?
but leave community college.
Oh no, I picked on you. Oh no, are you okay? Imagine that happening to you all the time. Especially while we're recording. Wouldn't that suck, Reid?
It would suck,
Anyway,
but
continue your story,
I
I
have thick
guess.
skin.
I
Yeah.
thought you were circumcised. Anyway, your cringy English paper.
I named the title most unimportantly unique.
Ew.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Mm-mm.
I hated
Was
it.
that for high school?
Nope, it was for community college. And my professor was like, wow, this is so amazing. Because I went through like a bunch of trauma in my life, even though I don't have very much.
I say you have drama.
And then at the end of it, I started listing off things I thought was like really important about me in a full sentence. And then at the end of that sentence, I was like, and most unimportantly, I am unique. Oh, most unimportantly unique. There was no reason to mention that story, but
I wrote my college paper on my acceptance resume, college personal narrative, on my life growing up. And you know about that. I'm sure the audience knows a little bit about the shit that I went through growing up. And I love the paper. I hate the title. You wanna know what the title is? So I write the paper from a third person point of view because oftentimes to cope with what happened to me when I was little, I alienate myself from the subject and I'm like trying to look at it like, oh, that wasn't me, that was someone else, because I want to care for that person. So I was talking about this little girl in my paper, and I named it Long Lost Little Girl, and I want to shoot myself. It's so bad, but I know that paper is what got me into college, because this college has less than a 20% acceptance rate. And it's called a hidden Ivy, which means that it has the same acceptance rate of Ivy League schools, but there's not enough people in it for it to be considered in Ivy League. Do you want to read it? It would make you cry.
You told me about it. You were reading it to me.
I did?
Yeah, on FaceTime.
I made my college counselor cry, that means a lot to me because she doesn't cry.
I can make people cry.
I made my English teacher cry. I made my brother cry. I made my friend Maya cry. I almost made my ex cry with it. I made a lot of people cry, and I think that essay is the only reason I got into that college because my GPA is good, and I was in a lot of clubs, but like less than 20% acceptance rate. If me and 100 other people were in a room and like 18 of them were picked, I would not be one of those 18.
My guess is no one's ever loved you before.
Oh shit!
Because you know nothing about hearts and love.
Did a robot voice act him?
There are hearts all around us.
Oh my god, that was Kingdom Hearts 3, by the way.
You've never been loved before. Damn.
My
Woody.
guess is you've never been loved before.
Did they get a robot to voice act him?
I don't know, it wasn't great. Yeah, I am a toy. And a friend.
I hate Kingdom Hearts.
You are a toy! Oh my god, did you know that the Toy Story 2... Did you hear about this story?
Mm-mm.
Toy Story 2, as it was in development, I don't know why, but so they had this like mass outage at the animation studio that was animating Toy Story 2,
Oh damn.
and they lost the entire movie.
Oh.
Save for one woman at a lower position who had it accidentally saved on her desktop at home.
How do you have a whole movie saved? Continue.
So she had all the files accidentally saved on her desktop at home, and it's not like she did it like out of malice or anything, like she was gonna copy it to someone else or anything like that. She just accidentally did it, and she like became the hero in that studio, bro.
Toy Story
Like,
2
they tell-
is my least favorite Toy Story.
They tell that story like all the time.
I don't even remember what the second one's about.
It's about what's her name? Jessie.
It's my least favorite one.
Him finding Jessie.
And going to the Cluck Cluck toy store, least favorite. The third is my favorite. It goes third, first, fourth, second. And I like the first because it's funny to see how they animated it. It was the first mass CGI animated. What?
It wasn't great. No, the CGI wasn't, but the story was.
I like the story.
I think mine would go. I don't know. Because I think the Prospector was a really good villain.
Yeah.
So.
I hated the villain in Toy Story 4. Abby, Allie. The China doll.
I'm not gonna rank them. I think they're all good.
Just the second one's my least favorite because it's the least memorable, and I think.
Buzz, I am your father.
No. I remember that. I remember the elevator scene with knockoff Darth Vader. But
they have a Lightyear movie coming out, dude. I can't wait for that. Right?
Okay, there's this shot. I'm so excited.
We went from Nintendo to Pixar.
We went to go see Encanto together.
Encanto.
And I saw the trailer for Lightyear for the first time, and I was elated. I was so happy. But
Chris Evans plays that one.
So many Chris's. Toy Story 4.
Who's your favorite Chris?
There's this shot from Toy Story 4 in the antique shop where it's just they had this random cut for no reason of a cat stretching. Like the cat is not integral to the story. That shot was not needed, but it looks like a real cat. Like they were just flexing. The animation in the fourth one is like obviously it's a high budget.
There's dust on the counters in the air.
And
oh my!
The air particles. Oh!
You could see Buzz's stickers were starting to peel
Yes.
off. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god! But the villain from that movie does have complexities. My favorite thing about Toy Story movies is that the villains have complexities.
Oh, like Lotso hugging Bear. Oh
Lotso. Okay, so Lotso is. I'm assuming you've seen the Toy Stories because if you haven't, click. I don't care. Click off. Go watch them. If you haven't seen them already, I don't care. If they haven't seen Toy Story, they're wasting space.
Damn.
If you haven't seen the Toy Stories, Lotso is evil because he feels underappreciated and unloved as a toy, so he wants other people to feel that way. But his backstory, Buzz is a little bit less complex because he was kind of the villain. No, him and that weird bald boy were the villain in the first one. Bald boy had no complexities. He was just a weird kid.
Sid. What's his name?
Sid,
Yeah.
yeah, with a Y, I think. Skull shirt dude.
T-shirt.
What was the minor guy's name from the second one?
Prospector.
His actions were like he was kind of trying to protect Jesse, and he didn't really understand the concept of joy because he was an unboxed toy, and he appreciated the history that came along with him and Woody and Jesse and
2 different people from 2 different lives.
yeah. And the new movie, the fourth one, it's kind of a Lotso Bear again. I'm gonna say it. Her arc was a Lotso Bear arc. She was broken, so her kid didn't love her anymore. And then she had to come to terms with
Lotso though. Lotso just happened to be like forgotten at a playground.
Well, Allie or Abby was forgotten, and because her toy was broken.
Yeah.
It's this concept of not being loved anymore because your toy's broken, or
Because
like
you're broken. Ooh,
yeah,
which is a pretty good moral.
the prospector was never loved, which some spice into the villains.
Yes, but difference is he learned to be okay with not being loved.
Was he ever okay?
He was
the prospector.
He was okay with not being loved because
what happened to him in the end? Did he stay with the chicken guy?
I can't remember.
Because I know Allie and Bullseye go with Woody.
I feel like he died somehow.
No. He when they're on the plane, he gets shipped somewhere else to like the Bahamas or something. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. I could be so wrong. But Allie and Lotso Bear have like the same.
I want to watch those movies again, bro.
Me too. They have the same like villain arc. And in the end, they come to terms with not being like loved by one kid, and that they can be loved by toys and multiple kids at the same time.
Which is something Woody also learns.
But I love the villain. The villains in Toy Story aren't even villains, bro.
They aren't.
They're just they're like real people. They're rounded characters.
Toy Story is funny too, man. The freaking in Toy Story 3, man,
the tortilla.
The whole Barbie and Ken stick is always such a good, it's such a good bit. It will never be not a good bit. Along with them switching on Spanish mode for Buzz. Of course, I mean, especially toys back then, they had a Spanish mode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course he would have one.
I love Toy Story 3. It's my favorite Toy Story. The only reason why Toy Story 4 is up there, the only reason why Toy Story 4 is up there, I have some problems with Toy Story 4. Okay? Not only do I feel like a cake can only have so much icing. You can only have so many movies in an amazing series. I think 3 would have been an amazing one to leave it on.
Yeah.
But I'm glad 4 is here because they get to show off their animation prowess.
And it's like a little slice of their life.
Yeah. That's what I don't like. I don't like that is there going to be Toy Story 5, 6, 7, 8? Is this going to be something that follows us?
I think that I'm really okay with how they're done. So,
But I think with Bo Peep, I think Woody joining Bo Peep. Wait, is that what happened? What happened in the end of Toy Story 4?
He joined Bo Peep at the carnival.
That is so going to have a 5th. Or at least a mini-series.
Why is that?
Because Woody has always been attached to his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's leaving his kid gives him so many opportunities. And so many paths.
To do what, though?
They would probably run back into Buzz and them again. Let's be honest.
Maybe.
I don't.
This is a good way to put away the voice actor too, but
I also don't like that Andy isn't in the 4th one. I know he's not, but
he's at college. He'll be back when he's older.
Oh my god! Wait. Okay, Pixar.
Pixar, close your ears for a second.
No. Woody and Bo Peep lived this life together,
and
at the end, the movie picks up when they're a little bit dirtier, and they're like, they don't have a kid, and they're out in the wild.
They've been helping other toys find kids.
Yes. Thank you. and they're at the park one day, and they're like trying to help this toy out, and the movie is with this other toy, and a kid picks Woody up and Bo Peep up, and it's got brown hair, dark brown hair, straight as a board, blue eyes, and it's wearing one of Andy's shirts, or like a shirt Andy wore. No, I take it all back. Did Andy give the little girl his hat? Because if he didn't, this kid...
No, he did, because he didn't keep anything.
Damn it.
The only thing that he was going to keep was Woody, but then he decided last minute in Toy Story 3 to give her away.
That little girl is a shit. She knew that Andy didn't want to give Woody her toy, but she's like, please, what about this one? This one, please?
Okay, she didn't know.
Isn't she supposed to be like 7?
And not only...
You have morals at 7.
And I think it's good that he's able to let go.
For story purposes.
Not for selfish purposes.
I mean, like, I've got a stuffed animal that I'm going to take to college.
Aww.
Her name is Charlotte. She's a little owl. My stepsister Jamie gave it to me.
I want so badly, if they do make a 5th one, I want so badly for the world to figure out that toys are alive. Because one of the funniest fucking bits in Toy Story 4.
Sid did.
Huh?
Sid did at the end of the first one.
You're right. But I'm sure everyone thinks he's crazy, which is why he ended up as a garbage guy in the 3rd one. But one of the 4th one is also hilarious to me, especially Forky. Forky is comedy gold.
I don't like Forky.
I
I think he's
Forky's
funny,
comedy
but
gold.
like I hate how they keep introducing new characters.
What? I love that.
I don't.
Rehashing old ones is a bad thing. But one of the funniest bits in the entire movie is Key and Peele's little plushes and their plans to attack the old lady that takes care of the antique store.
That is a good one.
Like, I think we got a plan. I can't remember what they call it, but they're like the old what and what.
The old what and what.
And it cuts to the plan, but without telling you that it's cutting to the plan. So you just think that, oh, we're going with this plan. And the old lady comes up to the shelf, and she's like, oh, look at these 2 cute plushes. Where'd you come from? And they fucking jump her. And they, like, jump and, like, invade her, like, face. And they, like,
Did
bang
we
her.
see the 4th one together?
No, we didn't. But, they, like, then they, like, banged her head against the shelf, and then, like, a desk over there. And they cut back to Buzz. He was like, well, we're not doing that. I'm like, well, dang, Pixar getting bold.
They showed...
That was old lady abuse, bro.
Disney has started showing blood in movies again. There was a long 10-year era where they didn't show blood in movies, but they're starting to do it again.
In what movies? Like their animated movies?
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually... Was there blood in Encanto? No.
Yeah, there was. Whenever she got her hand cut.
Yep, and there was blood in Toy Story 4. Wait, no.
Was there?
No, there wasn't. There was blood in Encanto, and there was another one that I've seen recently where a kid gets like punched or falls down or something and his nose is bleeding.
I don't think it's been that long since they've used blood. Because one of the best old style watercolor animation movies that they've ever released.
But that was that was more than 10 years ago.
That was more than 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch was more than 10 years ago. She got scratched. Well, Lilo and Stitch too. She got scratched by Stitch. And she was bleeding. It horrified me as a kid. Because I was like, oh, he hurt her.
I can't... None of the Frozens had blood in them. And the second one definitely should have had blood in it. It was literally... One of the themes was war. I understand not wanting to show kids blood, but if you're going to tackle themes like war and interfamilial love and resentment,
You know what?
throw some blood in.
Do you know? I don't blame. Okay, all the criticisms for Frozen 2 are really, really valid, and it's super hard for me to blame them though. Have you seen the documentary about Frozen 2?
No, but I've seen Frozen 2. It's not my favorite movie.
So they did a documentary that they kind of like bite people's nails and pull people's hair to get out on Disney Plus, because it's basically about how Disney shitted the animation studio. But they made it so that it's not so obvious that they're trash talking Disney. So, but every single time, like every 20 minutes throughout the documentary, the creator will come up like how it usually is, like sitting in front of a camera, like answering questions, and he's like, we can't be the first animation studio to miss a what's called a release date. We've never missed a release date. No one's ever missed a release date. We can't do that. And you make like further on, it starts sounding like it's like been a threat to him. And the reason it's so panicky is because they made a dark version of Frozen 2. They did. They made one. And Frozen 2 released November of the year that it did release. And back in February, they were basically done with the movie. And they did a pre-showing to a bunch of kids and some of the parents. And some kids came out crying, and parents didn't like it. And
I want to see that Frozen.
I do too. And the creators, even though they didn't like that and they knew they needed to work on it, they were really okay with how it stood still. Because it wasn't supposed to be a very generic movie, just kind of how Frozen was, Frozen didn't really have a villain until the twist villain, where it kind of taught you don't fall in love with people you just met. But Disney stepped in and they said, you need to change so much, dude. So they kept some of it, but if you feel like halfway through the movie it makes a tonal change,
it does.
Olaf
dies, and then he's brought back to life.
Olaf was supposed to stay dead.
He was supposed to stay dead.
But there was a few good things that came out of it.
What happened to killing people in Disney movies? Why don't we do that anymore?
The one thing that came good out of it was that in the time between February and November, somehow they wrote and animated the scene where she came back to the island.
I hate that scene.
What was it called?
On the wave and the spirit of the water.
The water horse. That was a great scene.
Ice and water are not different elements, Disney.
They're not different. They never said that they were different. They never named ice as one of the elements.
But Elsa's one of the elements.
Yeah, her person. And she even said that it wasn't just her, it was her and Anna. It was their love together that made the element.
That's bullshit. She's not the one. Anna didn't ride a fucking horse. Anna didn't ride the water horse. Anna did kind of beat up the stone guy. That stone animation was cool. That stone man is my favorite thing about that movie. But you know what I hated about that movie? Specifically that scene where she's riding it on the horse back to the island and she saves the island. No, I hate it because she was supposed to be dead. It seems like a cop-out.
After that.
I'm talking about that at the end of the movie where she's riding the horse and she stops the big wave.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
That's terrible. Hated that. And then Anna's boyfriend proposes to her.
Because they didn't have anything else for...
Because they didn't have anything else
for him to do during the entire movie. So...
Except for except for that.
That's his entire shtick. From the beginning to the end. The joke is introduced super early on within the first song. And then by the end, that's his entire...
The joke? No, because...
He feels like a female side character in an animation movie. Now that's a conversation we can't have.
That's a good argument, though. The second movie should have been a movie about loss. And discovering yourself without being dependent on your magical sister. Elsa should have died.
But I'll tell you
Elsa should have died and been gay. Elsa should have been gay and died.
I'm so glad that Elsa didn't get a romance partner. But I am.
If it was a girl,
I'll say it. I am.
I thought she was gonna fall in love with that girl from the people group.
The guy who plays Dipper was in that movie. I didn't know.
The voice actor for Dipper, Alex Hirsch.
No, Alex Hirsch didn't play Dipper.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, he voiced everybody else.
It feels like it. But oh, okay. So Frozen. We still need to cover Norse mythology, but Frozen 2. What is it? All right. So the big theme at the beginning, and like I said, you can see this all through the first half and a little bit at during the last half, but they completely abandon it at the end. The big theme was things won't stay the same, and you have to be okay with that. Or if you can't be okay with that, you have to be okay with you not being okay with that. So, literally the first song is them so unapologetically, ironically saying some things just won't change. And like even like one of the last few lines is like all of the townspeople standing together, looking up at the Arendelle flags, saying Arendelle will always stand, which is so setting up for Arendelle to be destroyed by the end of the movie.
I was wondering why we were going with such a nationalist theme at the beginning. I was like, are we indoctrinating kids?
So it's the big theme of like some things won't change, and they're like, you know what? Things won't have changed. It'll always be this okay. And even in that song, Elsa's like, I kind of want things to change.
I don't know about y'all,
I
but
kind of want things to change.
I'm feeling
but Arendelle
22.
Arendelle will always stay the same, right? But no, Olaf was supposed to die and stay dead. Elsa was supposed to die and stay dead. Arendelle was supposed to be wiped off the map. Arendelle was not supposed to be saved. It was supposed to be wiped off the
they
map.
should have moved in with the people group in the mountains.
I think that's what the plan was. But the Arendelle was supposed to be wiped off the map, and one of the few things that they kept from the previous version of Frozen 2 was the one song that Anna sang, which is the only Frozen 2 song besides
Love is an open door.
Frozen 2.
Oh.
What was it called? It was Elsa's solo song for the movie. I loved that.
Where she's running in the ice castle, like the sad ice castle, where she's
No.
meeting all the memories.
No.
Well, that is a song she has.
That's true. It was before that. I can hear you,
Oh,
but I won't.
Yeah, that song.
Okay, so I have that one, but the only other one that I have is the one where Anna realizes Elsa is dead because Olaf died, and she is sitting in a cave, crying in the corner of a damp, wet cave, just now figuring out that her great granddad was the reason that these people are about to die in a war outside.
That narrative was so forced.
It was really forced, but what wasn't forced was just her just being in grief.
The war narrative would have been so cool if there was a hint to it in the first one. The narrative where her mom is magic would have been so cool if there was a hint to it in the first one. All this mythical shit that they bring up in the second one would have been so cool if they brought it up in the first one.
The only thing that I think they give a little bit of a hint of with that kind of stuff is the fact that they happen to have magical books on their shelf that tell you where trolls are.
Yeah,
but
that's the only thing though. This war is not mentioned. I wish.
But they never. Okay, so I'm tiny bit okay with it because they never. The parents already didn't get enough screen time in the first one, which I'm okay with. That's a part of their story. You know, they are supposed to die for the character development of Valna and Elsa, but they didn't get enough screen time for us to get to know that.
To care. I don't care when she shows me the water memories in the ship of her parents dying. I don't give a shit. And also, what are the chances that she caught the one memory where they're hugging and not the one memory where they're grasping at their throats for air? Like, wouldn't that be fucked up?
Because it's her mother's spirit. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I think you're shitting on Frozen 2 just a little too much.
Okay. Fuck, I was about to say something nice and then I was like, bad thought. It's beautifully rendered. It has a nice theme of like war and the consequences that come from disliking a people group that you're not familiar with and discovering yourself without being dependent on other people, because Elsa and Anna are separated for the majority of the movie, and learning about your roots and how you can change like the history of your family to be a better person and you can stop the cycle. But that ending scene where Elsa rides in on the horse to stop the wave.
Bad.
Did you see how the scale of the city, how it was rendered, how it's so fucking tiny? Do you see how small the city is in that scene?
Yeah.
That's not a kingdom. That's Florence.
That's like I said, bro. Like the ending was so rushed and it was so.
Yeah, and now I know since it was rushed, like it had to be small or they couldn't render it. But like, throw in like another building.
It just sounded like it was a crazy amount of. It was a combination of Disney really not wanting to make kids cry and the animation studio being pressured to release on that release day. I know they didn't mention it in the development documentary, but I know they tried to get a later release date, which obviously didn't happen. Disney denied those efforts, but because they thought that it's just the name Frozen would bring in people, which it did, but still.
Is the mythical stuff in the movie based off of any religion?
Nordic.
Norse?
A lot
like
of it is Norse.
Vikings?
Yes.
Because it takes place in that area.
Yes, it does. Even though it never specifically states it, it's very obvious. Especially the runes that you see on the trolls and stuff earlier. It is
and
very
the weather.
Norse. The weather, just like the scenery, all that. It's very, very Norse. especially the native people are very Norse. But oh my God, so Norse mythology.
You've been wanting to talk about this for a
I
while.
have. So
I'm glad we got here.
I really am too. Okay, so
From Nintendo to
To-
Toy Story to Frozen, shitting on Frozen
to
to
Norse mythology.
there you go.
So I need to look up one name. Okay, so Norse mythology, and the reason why I think Norse mythology is one of the most interesting things ever when everyone tries to gravitate towards Greek mythology. I think it's so interesting because of how much it is lost in translation. Because back when all this stuff was happening, with the Vikings, which aren't Vikings, which I'm sure you know that story. But with the Norse people, back when they had all that kind of stuff before, then they just weren't a people that wrote stuff down. It was more stuff that was just passed by word of mouth, which is already subject to change. And when finally someone did gather up all the stuff to make it into a story, or into this giant history, like their first historian or whatever, they named it the Poetic Edda, is what it's called, or Edda, I think is how you pronounce it. And that was lost after, like, so many years after he wrote it. No one found it. We just know that it existed by word of mouth. So it was just like a long lost legend for like thousands of years. It was like one of those crazy like things that you see in movies where like this long ancient book that's never been found. That was an actual thing. But the reason we knew so much already was because one of the few people who read the old Poetic Edda, after hearing that it had been lost and no one could found it, he was a Christian priest, and he wrote a translation of it from his memory called the Prose Edda. And there is a lot of stuff that is adopted from Christianity. So when I tell this story, you're going to notice some things that is very, very derivative. Because this was also kind of right on the back of the Spanish Inquisition, which is, you know, Europe trying to Christianize everyone, or else you die.
Fucking conquistadors.
So, it wasn't until relatively recently, it was like, I can't remember if it was like late 90s or like early 2000s, that they found it. They found the Poetic Edda. And it was so important whenever they found it, because they didn't even find it like in the Norse lands. It was off on some other island. They found it. And when they did find it, it was so important that I think some other country lended Scandinavia their navy. Put the book on a navy ship and made sure that it shipped to Scandinavia safely. I think that's so
that's
fucking
sweet.
cool. Yeah.
Humanity saved.
And when it did, it took them years before they could translate the whole thing. And when they did, they obviously found that there were some differences, stuff that was also lost in translation that they had to kind of pull from the Prose Edda. But they have finally have this kind of connected story. But they know that there's just things that we will never find out.
Oh, the Marvel universe is having fun with this, I bet.
There's just they know that there's things that they just will probably never know. Which is why you'll see stuff like God of War recently. God of War, even Marvel, and as well as How to Train Your Dragon, you'll look and they each take the mythology in like separate directions. Because it's kind of free to. Because it's kind of like a loose translation. So,
I love How to Train Your Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon is amazing. But one of the few DreamWorks good movies besides Shrek. So the way that it is now, the way that the Norse people believe the world was created, was the world, like the universe first started out as just like an empty nothingness, and then out of nowhere,
This sounds familiar.
yeah, out of nowhere, this Iceland spawned in the north of the universe, which became not Niflheim. It was cold though. And
I know a little bit about Norse mythology.
okay. And then this next one's Niflheim. So in the south, which obviously under is a fire realm. I wonder where that came from. And it was called Niflheim.
Go to Niflheim.
water from the ice realm started dripping down into the middle, and then the sparks from the fire realm started rising up to the middle,
Ooh.
and it created the first life.
Oh, this is cool.
Right? I love how they explain it. It created the first life, and it was a giant called Ymir. And Ymir, was this giant, crazy, powerful giant, and he just kind of sat in between the lands, and he was the first one to ever take the first like nap or sleep, and when he woke back up, he had kids. One spawned.
Don't
Okay,
you hate it
okay.
when you take a nap and you wake up
So
and
this
you're
guy-
pregnant?
So this is gonna sound weird. The two kids, I think he had two. The two kids that he had, one came out of his armpit while he was sleeping, and the other one came out of his legs. And the one that came out of his leg was like a 5-headed dude that we'd never hear of again. But they eventually had kids, and they were like the three big ones, which is Odin and then his two siblings. Odin and his two siblings conspired against Ymir, the great granddad, and they killed him.
Didn't one of them specifically kill him?
Odin was the biggest part in it,
Yeah.
in killing him. And whenever they killed him, like the blood from Ymir, created the rivers of the earth. Ymir's body, I think, is the one that actually created the land of Midgard, which is Earth.
Oh, that's cool.
It's right in the middle. They ripped out his bones and created the mountains. They ripped out his teeth and created the rocks. And then they ripped out his brains and created the clouds.
That's so cool.
Right?
So, like, we're like on Amir's corpse right now?
Yes, we're on the corpse of Ymir. And that's when like things like started kicking into action. So like
This is so much better than the Big Bang.
scientists. So things started kicking into action then. So like the remaining sparks from Niflheim that had escaped, they took and they threw it against the sky and it made the stars. And I know that's kind of like a really pretty,
so cool.
right? And then they made the sun and moon, I think out of his eyes.
Oh, God, this is.
But since animals were already like starting to spawn off his corpse, there were these two wolves that were meant to chase the sun and the moon forever.
This is also another Nordic story that I've heard.
Oh yeah.
Not the wolves, but I'll tell this story when you're done with the wolf story.
Okay, so like these wolves will chase, or they're supposed to chase the sun and the moon forever until Ragnarok, which we'll get to. And that's why the day passes. That's why the sun streaks across the sky, and that's why the moon streaks across the sky, because it's running from the wolf.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There's this, I'm pretty sure it's Nordic. If not, it's like Northern European. There's the story of these two siblings. One has black hair and one has blonde hair. The blonde hair is a woman. The black hair guy is a kid. It's a boy. And they live in this little community together, and the sun and the moon do not yet exist. And this is on the precipice of humans like literally becoming humans.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys sleep in one hut and the girls sleep in another hut, but during the day they're allowed to interact. And one day to impress her friends, the sister throws a bowl of like porridge at the guy. And to spite her, in the night he goes and have sex with her. Not sex. He unconsensually does things.
Okay, well, I was like, that's a big demonetized word. Go ahead.
And then cuts off her boobie. And she doesn't notice, I guess. And in the morning she wakes up, she's like,
Must be like you.
the twins. Like, where? Like, what's going on? So she throws another thing of porridge at the guy's face. And he gets really mad and he starts chasing her. And they run so fast around the earth for millennia that they take off. And the girl becomes the sun and the boy becomes the moon. So the moon is ever chasing the sun to either take out anger or get reconciliation. So the sun and the moon are brother and sister.
Yeah, I'll bring up something else on top of that. This is whenever these mythologies were kind of made, it was made back in the time where morals were like a really iffy thing. So I won't cover them, but there are a bunch of stories of unconsensual.
That's in
sex
a lot of
things.
religions.
That's true.
I think Christianity is one of the ones where that is not a prominent.
Yeah.
Like, this person was born because out of this.
But it was like, it was just so brutal out there. Because you'll hear a bunch of
It's brutal out there.
you'll hear a bunch of these stories from Norse about how a bunch of their enemies are wolves and snakes, because that's a lot of what killed people back then. And um there's just like simple rules of society that they had. Like if someone was to step on your land that you didn't invite them, you can kill them. You know, it's all right.
It's fine. It's cool.
Like they insult you, okay, you can sleep with their wife.
I'm gonna use that one. Be careful what you say to me. I will sleep with your wife.
Obviously that's not upheld today, especially with Norse people who still worship that, because they still say, you know, that was back then. We aren't like that now. But anyway, back to the story. Back then, a lot of, just like how I was telling you about how the threats were to the Norse people back then, one of the bigger threats wasn't heat, like in the Middle East, which Christianity associated with hell. Their hell, which I don't even think should have been called hell. I think that was kind of adjusted whenever that priest came along and kind of adjusted everything. They had their own version of hell called Helheim, and people kind of argue whether Christianity got it from them or they got it from Christianity. But their Helheim is ice. It's unbearable cold. Not even Not even Odin can set foot in that. So that's Helheim, and there's 9 realms, and you'll hear the number 9 so many times in the Norse mythology. But then there's Niflheim, which is like the land of mist, which doesn't have a lot to do. It's just like kind of like the aftermath of the ice land and the fire land mixing together. Not very important. Then there's the land of the dwarves, and then there's the land of the light elves, which is Alfheim.
This is cool.
Yes, right.
This is inspiring my next D&D campaign.
And those were the 9 lands. I'm pretty sure I missed one. I think Svartalfheim was the name of the dwarf realm. But those were just the 9 realms. Oh, there's another one. Vanaheim, and that's the last one though.
Is Valhalla one of them?
Valhalla's in Asgard. Asgard
Okay.
is the last one. So there's Asgard and Vanaheim. Those are the 2 really important ones, because Asgard was home to the Aesir gods, Odin, Thor, the Valkyries, Heimdall, all those. And then there were like fertility gods that stayed in Vanaheim, called the Vanir gods, and they kind of didn't like each other.
This is it's amazing that even though we didn't have the whole Poetic Edda,
Poetic Edda, yeah.
the whole Poetic Edda, that so many of these are prominent figures in modern society and modern pop culture.
Right.
So that's really amazing.
It's crazy. You don't really see very much of the Vanir Greeks because they didn't. Norse people liked worshiping the Aesir a lot more, so they kind of spent their time telling stories about them more than the Vanir ones. But they're mostly like nature powers, you know. They're mostly like the beautiful gods. So, and it's a really short story, especially compared to stuff like the Bible and stuff. It's a really short story. So the big thing is, prophecy comes about. There's a thing called Ragnarok. That's going to be the end of the world. And by this time, man has already spawned on the earth, but not our man. Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. But Ragnarok is heard of, and they're like, okay, I want you to know, basically all the Aesir and Vanir are gonna die. And Odin's like, well, shit. He's like, but we can change that, right? And like, no matter what you do, you can't change that. That is a set in stone prophecy. And Odin's like, I don't believe you. So he spends most of his life preparing. The first thing he does is he goes to this old guy named Mimir, who sits on the bottom of what is called the World Tree. The World Tree is home to the Bifrost, which is kind of appropriated weirdly in the Marvel Universe. It's just a rainbow from realm to realm that the gods use. Mimir sat at the bottom of the World Tree at this pool of wisdom. He is the smartest man alive. And Odin wanted every bit of knowledge. So Mimir said, okay, but I need you to prove yourself. So Odin plucked out his eye and gave it to Mimir. So Odin now has one less eye, which is why you always see him with an eye patch. And he dipped inside the Lake of Wisdom, and now he became the smartest god alive, which is why they started calling him Allfather. And then he wanted to learn more about Vanir and Aesir magic combined, which was runic magic. It was called Nordic magic. So he went to these 3 witches that studied it super duper hard, and then they said that he had to prove himself again for that. So what he did was he impaled himself with a spear and hung himself around the world tree. And he stayed there, and he ordered all his god friends and brothers and sisters and daughters and sons, he ordered them not to feed him or save him. So he hung there for 9 days, telling them that he would still live. And by the 9th day, he was still alive, so they gave him the powers. And then he finally created this army called the Valkyries, which was kind of in charge of filtering out the dead. So if you died it was weird because like it's not like hell where if you were an evil person you would go to hell. If you died dishonorably, you go to hell. So if you didn't die fighting someone, you were probably going to hell. If you died of sickness, you were going to hell. If you died of old age, you were going to hell.
Damn.
You had to like die in a really honorable way. And if you died in an honorable way, you went to Valhalla, where the Valkyries kept you and where Odin sits, waiting for Ragnarok. And he's like gathering this army so that he can.
So is Ragnarok like an era, or is it like an era of destruction, or is it like a person, an entity?
It's basically an era. It's just
Okay.
like a one-day apocalypse.
Like the rapture.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It's a giant apocalypse, and so that's basically Odin's story, though. After he gets done with all that, he's basically waiting for Ragnarok because he thinks he's prepared. Thor, Thor is his son, and unlike how they love to portray him in media, he is a redhead.
And he's he's fat.
Yes.
He's a big old.
They all are very
he
big.
Big old chunk.
They all are very big, and he has been known to have like a really rosy beard too, and also be really really stupid. He wasn't very wise, unlike his half-ish brother Loki. They weren't exactly brothers, really. They hardly were even talked of as brothers. But again, Marvel appropriated that. But Loki was half god, half giant, and Loki was kind of half the reason Ragnarok even came about. But Thor was kind of this big time warrior. He was kind of Odin's greatest warrior, and he had the dwarves from Niflheim make him an indestructible hammer. They made him an indestructible hammer that would always find its way back to him. There was nothing about you need to be worthy to lift it up or anything. Anyone could lift it up, but it would always find its way back to him. And that's Mjolnir. It's indestructible, and the only reason why it has such a tiny handle is because whenever they were making such a powerful weapon, one of the sparks flew into the dwarf's eyes, and he missed one of his hammer swings, and it made the hammer handle small. But Thor thought it was beautiful anyway.
I like this Thor.
No, you don't.
I like big, chunky, dumb, sweet Thor. Okay, never mind.
So after that, he kind of wreaked havoc on the giants and killed so many men and giants and women.
Why'd he do that?
At the order of Odin. So, like, if you oppose the Aesir gods, are you...
So it was Odin.
Basically.
Thor too stupid to know. It was
Basically.
bad.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Thor just Patrick.
So...
Canon.
And at this point, like, tensions are rising when it came towards Ragnarok. And kind of like the breaking point before Ragnarok was Loki. So Loki was big time famous for pranking the gods. But with pranks that are kind of really, really mean. So...
I just ran this guy over. It's a prank, bro. Watch me prank this man by sleeping with his wife.
So,
and causing a nasty divorce.
One of the biggest pranks that Loki pulled was one of the most beautiful gods ever to ever have been born. His name was Balder, and he was just a thing of beauty. No god was to ever be more beautiful than him. Like, they did not like gay people, but they even stated that no, men loved him, women loved him, everyone loved Balder. He was beautiful. So his mother, in an attempt to preserve that beauty, put a spell on him that he would never die by anything, and his mother was a Vanir goddess, so she knew the plants, and she was like, oh, mistletoe is a harmless plant, so you can't die to anything except for mistletoe. You'll be fine. It's not like there's a trickster god somewhere lurking around. So
His Achilles heel.
yeah, exactly. So they held a contest after that spell was made where everyone could fire arrows at Balder, and they all did. Even Thor went in with it, and he couldn't kill Balder. No one could kill Balder, and they were so happy that they couldn't kill him. But Loki, being the guy that he is, he approached one of the warriors who was blind, so he couldn't enter the competition. But Loki, being all trickster, he's like, "Oh, well here, I'll guide you. I'll give you this very normal arrow that isn't made of mistletoe, and I'll put it in your bow. I'll put it in your bowstring. I'll tell you exactly where to shoot." So he shot, and he killed Balder. And
Damn.
the Aesir were furious, but they were more grieving than furious. But they were furious with Loki, and they couldn't find Loki anywhere. And I'll tell you why in a second. They couldn't find him, but they went to Helheim, and they found Hel, the goddess of Hell. And they were like, please resurrect him. He died so dishonorably. He just sat in this tree, got shot. Please resurrect him. We need him back. He's the most beautiful person we've ever laid eyes on. And
He's making everyone gay.
she's like, if every man, goddess, and giant all wished it to be, then sure. So they went out and they spent this giant journey asking everyone if they wanted Balder back. And they got to this last frost giant. And he said no. And there's no take-backsies. So the Hell goddess was like, well...
Show me that man.
So that final frost giant was actually Loki in disguise, which is why they couldn't find him.
This is so good. I love Norse mythology.
So,
Oh my god.
Balder stayed dead.
No, not my gay boy Balder.
Balder stayed dead.
Balder gay. Confirmed.
So then we get to Ragnarok, and Ragnarok is the giant apocalypse. Oh, it's crazy how many things go wrong in Ragnarok. So, to signal the start of Ragnarok and how everyone knew it was coming was something called Fimbulwinter. In Fimbulwinter,
It sounded like you said Fimboy Winter.
Fimboy Winter.
Everyone's wearing cat ears. Oh my god, Ragnarok, is it coming? Everyone is wearing cat ears, Reid.
It's called Fimbulwinter, and all that it is it's 3 years of just winter. There's no seasonal changes or anything. It's just straight up winter. And at the end of it, the world becomes engulfed in fire. It's a fiery battlefield. Man obviously dies super quick to the fire, and it's the gods fighting. So the prophecy is that Loki's son, which happens to be a serpent, the world serpent, that is so giant that it wraps itself around the entire world. Also,
How did he do that?
also the Norse gods knew the Earth wasn't flat, but
How? What? Who did Loki fuck to make?
right. He also had a son that was a wolf, but
Is Loki a furry? Loki's the femboy Winter.
Yeah. which is why Loki is again one of the big causes of Ragnarok, because the wolf and the serpent and then this giant god named Sur. His name is Sjur, but the J is silent, so it's Sur. And Sur came from Niflheim, that fire realm that was first introduced. He was the first fire giant, and he has this giant flaming sword that's going to tear open the sky and make the world just burn for like a really long time. That's basically all that his sword did. But he is the harbinger of Ragnarok, and once he comes, you know it's the end. So what happened was Odin brought his Valkyries and all his gods, and even the Vanir came and helped a little bit, and they tried to win over this giant apocalypse and survive, but it didn't work. So Odin, how did Odin die? Odin fought Loki's son, the wolf.
Odin dies.
Odin, despite his efforts, could not stop Ragnarok, and when it came, someone else died. Someone else that was close to Odin died to the wolf.
Was it Thor?
I'll tell you how Thor dies. But
Damn, everybody dies.
yeah, Ragnarok was like a kind of big reset for the mythology. But think was it Surtur that killed him? I can't remember. Maybe it was Surtur that killed him. But Thor was destined to fight that world serpent, and they engaged in a giant battle. And theirs was like the biggest battle of Ragnarok, and it like cracked the earth. It caused earthquakes, all this stuff. It made mountains taller than they were. It made caverns deeper than they should have been. And it kept snow on top of the mountains after the fire had gone out. But the fighting killed the serpent because of how strong Thor's hammer was. But before the serpent died, he injected Thor with poison. So a few seconds later, Thor also died. Thor's sons actually survive Ragnarok and take his hammer back to Asgard. But that's neither here nor there, because they don't really do anything after that.
So
Their names were Magni and Modi.
So what happens after Ragnarok?
So after Ragnarok, and this is where it kind of gets derivative of Christianity. So after Ragnarok,
Messiah.
no,
There's this woman named Mary who said she didn't have sex, but we're pretty sure.
we're pretty sure she didn't want to be called a whore in front of her whole village. But basically all the gods get shit on. Every single god, goddess, save for like very, very, very tiny bit, were killed, including all of man, save for 2 people, and they stayed under the world tree where they survived. Now I don't remember their exact names, but one started with an A and the other started with an E. A was a guy.
Did they eat a berry or something?
No, they did not do that.
Okay.
But they were the beginning 2 people that spawned the rest of humanity.
Damn.
Yeah,
I
and there is
really
a
like
lot
that
that I
story.
left out of that story just for time, but because I have to leave soon. But that is the basics of the basics, which I really like. I like
really
that so much.
I'm gonna write a D&D campaign off of this, which I'm sure most D&D campaigns are based off of this, but I want to do one.
I like a lot of like what I like about it is like the little nuances that are totally out of. Oh, I forgot to mention as well. The sun and the moon, the reason why Ragnarok is also like so terrible is because it's in almost complete darkness. The sun and the moon get eaten by the wolves by the end of Ragnarok. But the sun had a daughter before.
With what?
I don't know. It just says that the sun had a daughter before she died. But she hid to not also die in Ragnarok, and she came out back when Ragnarok was done with.
So the sun we have isn't Odin's eyes.
Oh, Ymir's eyes, yeah.
Oh yeah,
wasn't.
sorry.
This is the daughter of the original sun. I love like the little storytelling that they did with like Ymir. I love that. You know, his corpse is the ground, his bones are the mountains, his teeth are the rocks. Oh, I love that. It's so
like that a lot.
cool. And there are other stories, a lot more immoral stories. Like at one point Thor slaughters like an entire dining room just because they made him mad. There's some where he sleeps with other people's wives because they made him angry. There's one where he because the Easter gods do not like the giants at all. There's one where he faked a marriage so that he could get into the realm of the giants, Jotunheim, and kill almost all of them. He was a really bad dude, and it was all under Odin's order, which makes Odin a really bad dude. But that's just how it was back then. As well as back then, it was kind of not really that bad to be a short person, because they kind of really liked the dwarves and they really hated the giants.
To be a short person.
It was really, really okay being that.
Well, I liked learning about Norse mythology from you. I know more than I did.
Hey, that's
Hey.
good. Yeah. So now you can look back and like look at these Marvel properties and be like, hey, I know where that came from.
I'm not gonna watch them. I have to watch them for you. I have to watch them in order.
Yeah.
Well, I like today's episode. Today's episode was cool. We had to talk about our favorite childhood movies, or shitting on some of our favorite childhood movies. Nintendo a little bit. I hate that you play Kirby. I haven't even played as Kirby ever. That disgusts me. I'm not racist or homophobic or ageist or ableist, but I am Kirbyist. Who you main in Smash is the most
And Chris
important
Pratt-
thing to me.
Chris Pratt, if you want to play Mario, man. If they approach me for Mario's role, even though I know that I shouldn't be Mario, I'm gonna take it. It's Mario.
You'd be happier than he was.
It's Mario. It's a me, a Mario.
It's a me, a Mario. I'm definitely not baked right now. You know those toads from Mario? Not the toads. The toadstools from Mario.
The turtles.
No, the mushrooms. Toadstools are mushrooms.
Oh.
You know them. Bit's over. I had to explain it. Damn it, Reed. Anyway, I like today's episode.
Me too.
I hope you guys did too. Where can they find us, Reed?
You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.
And Instagram. We have an Instagram account.
Unfortunately. I'm still gonna keep shit talking to Instagram.
The podcast Podheads.
That's-
Because you don't do anything on it.
Because I don't have the password.
You're not signed into it? You used to sign into it?
Oh, wait, no, I was.
You were, because you liked our posts with the account.
Not anymore, guys.
Well, anyway, we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye!